We are back to Right Balance on the Accent Radio Network. Greg Allen here on the air and the internet 3 times a day, live from 10 to noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, reruns from 10 to midnight by going to your local affiliate that features the show, or accentradio.com or therightbalance.org from 2 to 4 Central. Hit us online at iowanewstalk.com. We are The Right Balance. Let's speak with Dave Jeffers, Part 2. Dave, as it relates to the blatant capitalist plug, before we talk about what you're observing with a possible shift in the evangelical movement, blatant capitalist plug, if we want to read some of your stuff, where do we go?
Just go to my blog. It's davidjeffers.thevanguard.org. And actually, if you Google David Jeffers, my blog is now coming up #1, so you can find it that way, too. And yeah, I've just been throwing a few things out there and just commenting on different subjects. Right now I'm working on something that I'm not really sure where I'm going to publish it yet, though.
Okay, that's not Greg Allen, the legend, or whatever, or the myth, is it?
Well, no, like I said, that'll have to be a co-authorship because I don't want to plagiarize you. But no,
let's talk about. Wait, Dave, I want to talk about the shift in the evangelical movement because I think to a great extent, American media understands or misunderstands the evangelical movement greatly. I think when it comes to the misunderstanding part, they don't get it. For the same way, if someone made me have to go to a fashion show to be a reporter on the runway, I wouldn't know what to say other than the women are too skinny and need to put weight on. Other than that, I don't know what I'd say. As it relates to this shift, is it a question mark or a fact from your point of view that something's going on?
I think it's a myth more than anything. Or it's a point of confusion. I'm actually, the piece I'm working on right now, I've already started writing it, is called An Evangelical Manifesto. And what I'm trying to do is explain because, Obama last year said that his religion had been hijacked, that Christianity had been hijacked. And he's absolutely right. I even wrote an article on New Media Journal called Losing My Religion about that. But the reason is that it's being hijacked by the left and by moderates. Evangelical is traditional, it's conservative, it's the inerrant Bible, it's Jerry Falwell, and now you have the press and you have moderate liberals, evangelical, which is an oxymoron, are saying, well, this is what's going on, and this is what, they talk about abortion as a troublesome issue. That's not a troublesome issue. Abortion is the Holocaust. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So absolutely, it is a shift, but it's a matter of people are trying to confuse the issue. So I'm going to write something that's going to hopefully clear it up, at least from this evangelical standpoint. And you're right. There's an attempted shift. I don't think that if you actually use the proper term, the proper definition of an evangelical, you've got maybe 35 million Americans that fall under that correct, strict definition, and there's no shift in that group.
No, and I believe it really does matter that they, as a group, decide to vote, because I think this year, 2008, is very significant in terms of our future freedoms in broadcasting, for example. I believe if the Democrats take over the White House, the fairness doctrine will be rammed down the throat of Congress. It'll never apply to NPR or PBS, even though they take everybody's tax dollar. In their editorial policies, they only represent the left on a regular basis. But the fairness doctrine won't apply to the slant, if you will. In commercial radio, where the bottom line determines what stays and what goes, it's not the liberal talk that succeeds. Air America is propped up by backdoor money. It's not because they turn a profit. Conservative talk radio succeeds because the market is there. And,
and that's one of the things I'm going to address, Greg, is what's at stake. If you want to teach the Republicans a lesson and stay at home, then take a saw to your leg and cut it off, because that's what you're doing. Because not only is free speech going to be affected, talk radio, but so will Christian radio, and so will Christian satellite television. And and we've already seen what's happening with homeschooling. And oh, by the way, if you look at the two Democratic nominees, just look at their response to the Supreme Court upholding the partial birth abortion ban. So that's what's ahead of us. And we, as the 35 million of us that really believe in a God-fearing nation, we have got to come up. We have to show up and stand in the gap, because we are the ones, not the independents, not the moderates, but the 35 million hardcore evangelicals are the ones who are going to make the difference in this election if we show up.
And I think if Obama's the candidate, this might finally wake up liberal Jews in America to realize this time they better vote Republican, because they've been voting against self-interest for generations now. And Obama associates himself with Louis Farrakhan and associates himself with the Reverend Wright far too much. I mean, the people you hang out with on a regular basis do say a lot about you. And Obama hangs out with black bigots, and that's not an interpretation. It's a reality. It's the truth. Anti-Semitic bigots.
Yeah, and again, you can't pick your family, but you can pick who you keep company with and where you worship and who you take spiritual advice from. And that speaks volumes for this man. He's been a member of this church for 22 years. And this guy didn't just start saying this stuff after Obama became senator in 2004. He's been saying this stuff from Jump Street. Okay? It's always been there. None of it's new. It's just now coming out.
And we should point out, in the contemporary world with Obama as a candidate, his church gave Louis Farrakhan a Lifetime Achievement Award this past December. That's right. Not December 1991.
That right there would have been reason to quit the church. I mean, the first time he started speaking that hate speech, I would have got him and walked out. I have walked out of Baptist churches that have spoke hate speech against abortion doctors and homosexual marriage. And I have walked out and never been back. I've done that more than once. And this man, if he had any character, he would do the same thing. But hey, I hope he wins the nomination. I used to be afraid of him, but now that this stuff's coming out, I think we actually can beat him too.
I think it's very important for the Republicans to come up with a very strong vice presidential candidate. Among my suggestions, obviously, I think General Petraeus, if he wants to get out of the military and run, I think that would be great, because 4 to 8 years from now, he'd be a very fine president. Mike Huckabee would be good. I think some congressmen such as Thad McCotter would make sense from the upper Midwest, from Michigan, a state that's needed, and a Catholic, would go very, very well, I think, with McCain. We could call it the Mick tick. Dave, as always, thank you. Check out the book, Understanding Evangelicals. Go to newmediajournal.us. Check out thevanguard.org. You can find many articles from Dave's pen. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
Back in a flash.